Alright, so I'm not sure if I'm live yet. Cool, so now I know if I press that button it goes live. Still can't see the video. Okay, there it is. Alright, good afternoon guys from USA. It's cryptocurrency. I'm your host, Edward, aka DeadlyCrypto. Some of you guys might know me by DeadlyCrypto. That's the channel name. So, we're going to start trying incorporating some more live appearances, some more live streams. This is going to be the second one. Going to be trying to test just a couple more features, but in this one we're actually going to be reviewing some cryptocurrency news from the week, and we're going to be doing a little bit of TA recap and some insight as to what we might be able to expect in the days upcoming up until our next live stream. So I haven't scheduled the live streams yet because I'm not really sure how to do that. I'm still trying to figure out all of the tools. So thanks guys who are here on the live stream while I'm still learning, and in the future of course we're just going to be able to roll out with these things, and I'm going to be like wham bam past the intro, and then we're just going to get into all the content. So thanks for being here right now while I'm trying to learn. So now I'm going to try and take myself to the corner. There we go, perfect. Alright, so now we're going to start off with cryptocurrency, latest events, some of the things that could impact cryptocurrency in the immediate basically major news from this week. So probably what you may have heard is Biden put an executive order on cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of articles written about this. It's not that hard to find out what's going on. So we're just going to look at the key points here. Joe Biden signed an executive order on Wednesday. It's now Friday as of this live stream, at least here. It's Friday, 4:06 p.m. So, Joe Biden signed an executive order on Wednesday calling the government to examine the risk and benefits of cryptocurrencies. So, that could be good and bad. What it means in general is that cryptocurrency has been brought to the attention of the government, and it's now on the stage. It's up for debate. It's up for questioning. There's a lot of good and bad that could come from this, but the main thing is that it finally has some of the attention that it deserves. If the president is going to address it, it's definitely, something of concern. So this measure focuses on 6 key areas. Consumer protection, so they're going to try and protect the consumers, but we all know how that goes. Financial stability, so I'm not really sure what they're implying there. Illicit activity, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people, not most of the people anymore, but back in the heyday, a lot of people would come to cryptocurrency and they're like, oh yeah, Bitcoin's used for the dark web and for illegal transactions. So they're going to try and do something about that. U.S. competitiveness. So this is a key area right here, U.S. competitiveness. I think this is a very important aspect. They don't want to suppress crypto anymore because it's bad for business. If they keep trying to suppress it forever and ever, it's going to open up other countries which are already making, they're leaps and bounds ahead of USA in terms of cryptocurrency, like mining and productivity and things like that, blockchain production studies. There's so many ways that US is just simply lacking because there aren't regulations in place on how to tax cryptocurrency, which I'm not the biggest fan of paying taxes on crypto, but in the larger sphere it keeps major investors out and innovation out. It allows it to happen overseas, so that's really good that they actually address that. Financial inclusion. So, some people actually are not able to open bank accounts, but pretty much anyone in the world with a cell phone or access to the internet, most cell phones have access to the internet. Any device that has access to the internet, you can create a Bitcoin wallet or some other cryptocurrency wallet. And responsible innovation, so that kind of ties into what I said about competitiveness. There's not going to be any innovation here if there's laws and not set regulations in it, or if it's banned, things like that. So that closes the doors for innovation. So the Biden administration also wants to explore a digital version of the dollar, which is centrally backed digital currency, CBDC. That's what you might have heard of those by now. Those can be good and those can be bad. Essentially, it's good because governments are looking into a digital form of currency, a digital form of the dollar. But it's really, really bad because then it gives them so much more control than just over more than the current financial legacy system allows. So they already have a lot of control with the dollar, as we've seen in recent events in Ukraine, in the war in Russia, where there have been financial sanctions imposed upon governments, and they have affected the average citizen. In Russia, there were financial sanctions imposed upon the SWIFT system, and there was a rush for citizens to withdraw their money. The Russian currency crashed, and now the Russian citizens are suffering for it. So that is one act that we've seen on a very large scale of financial censorship, and cryptocurrencies are resistant to that. So imagine if the governments, in idea, if all the governments have their own centrally backed digital currency, the control is not going to be a global thing, but imagine the kind of control that a government could impose on its population, on its people, if they have the means to just, cut off their blockchain address. You probably heard people in the news say, oh, well, they have to stop cryptocurrency transactions too, because Ukraine is getting lots and lots of donations from Bitcoiners and cryptocurrency fanatics, and they're donating in cryptocurrency, and governments are like, you have to stop that, you have to regulate crypto, which is probably one of the things that prompted this the most. But you just simply can't do that for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's truly decentralized. There's a lot of cryptocurrencies where where you can argue if they're truly decentralized or not, but you can't do that for Bitcoin, and that's really important. But if you impose something like that from the government, they can just, the same way they cut off your access to your bank accounts or to anything else, they can limit your access to your money on large or small scales. So you don't really want that. But like I said, it's good that they're looking into it. It shows that there's innovation in the near future. We just got to make sure that we are all on the same page and understanding as to where that could take us. So, seems like my dog's barking, probably because the mailman's here, but hopefully he doesn't bark too much. So, Princeton launches a blockchain research initiative with $20 million from crypto alumni. That's super dope. They didn't waste any time on this. They're just like, hey, you know what? All right, awesome. Princeton University is a leading research university here in the States. Prestigious Princeton University launched an initiative to study the decentralization of societal power through blockchain technology in an effort to explore the vast depths of its social capabilities. So that just means that there's a super brilliant team on the study of this, and they are going to capitalize on this $20 million in donations from multiple people. It's not from just one person, but they are going to make use of that money, and they are already researching what they can do. So this is a huge announcement and a huge initiative. If this is only going to prompt other universities to, again, it's going to spark that competitiveness, because now Princeton is going to be getting ahead of the curve, it would seem, or be able to find out things that other universities are going to want to partake in. So now other universities are, of course, going to follow suit, and there's going to be a competition to see what use cases can actually be discovered for this, and then where it can be applied. Based off of you have not heard of that yet, but if there was a research about cryptocurrency from Harvard or Yale or Princeton, that would catch eyes. That would catch eyes or two, and it would start and trickle down from there. So people would pay attention to things like this, and it would trickle down from large investors. The movements would happen, and then smaller investors would notice and take part. But something like this is really important to take note in. Now, another important update. Let me get a drink of water here. Thanks to all my viewers. I'm not really sure who's here, but what's up, guys? Thanks for being here. So the next important update from this week, we have Stripe launches support for crypto and NFTs. So if you're not familiar with what Stripe is, they're like competitive to PayPal. They're a financial service company, and they are embracing the world of crypto. So they launched their crypto services. They're offering businesses the ability to use Stripe as a payment method for crypto and NFT transactions. So some people may have been using like a Coinbase plugin or something like that, or you have to get it to a Coinbase account. But now you can use Stripe to connect your store and your business to the Web3, which a lot of people really don't understand what the Web3 is basically just the application of smart contracts in order to execute things between different cryptocurrencies. So Web3 is not something that's like you have to go dive deep to get into. It can be something as simple as signing a contract in your MetaMask browser. So I have MetaMask here. I'm not sure if I'm logged in or not. Okay, yeah, I'm not logged in, but I mean right here I'm on the internet and Web3 is just right there. So it's an extension. We can talk about that in another video, but it's really not that difficult to access, and Stripe is making it now nearly seamless. People probably won't even be able to know that they're using Web3 extensions. It's fascinating. Other companies are already doing this, and this is just another step forward for cryptocurrency is as a whole. Some, people might not like the idea of KYC, which is know your customer. Again, if you know me from any other broadcasts or any of my other videos, I'm not really a fan of the KYC concept, but in general, this is a huge progression for cryptocurrency as a whole. And then a lighter announcement, not so as heavy. eBay shows interest in taking cryptocurrency. So they don't have an innovative platform of accepting cryptocurrency yet, but they have actually been selling NFTs on the platform for a while, and they're going to be looking to accept and actually allow their users to buy and sell things with cryptocurrency in a seamless way. They don't have any plans or official roadmap or anything like that, but spectating on it and commenting on it is definitely, and the fact that they already have NFT sales, if you didn't know that, they've been selling NFTs on there. So just like something like OpenSea, where you can go and buy, sell NFTs, or CryptoPunks, and here we go. You want to drop some trigger words? CryptoPunks, Bored Ape Yacht Club. Yep, you can buy those on OpenSea. You can also buy them on eBay if they're for sale on eBay. If someone lists it for sale on eBay, you can buy it there. And that's Web3 applicability. But, soon, hopefully, this year, they're looking at introducing crypto payments to their platform. So now let's go ahead and get out of that and talk about what you came to see, right? So let's see what we got going on here in Bitcoin. I'm going to try and jump through some analysis as quickly as possible. I don't want to rush through everything, but I'm trying to get through multiple time frames here so that in the future, I'm just going to be looking down at really small time frames, not really small time frames, but daily and below, daily 4 hour, 1 hour, things like that. So I want to start off here in the weekly, but just to take note that of where we come. I'm not going to try and start from the weekly every time and try to explain to you what every indicator means every time. So I have a lot of videos on my channel about technical analysis where you can go and find how to read simple things like these indicators right here. If I wasted 10-15 minutes every video trying to tell you how these work, I wouldn't get anywhere. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue on with the broadcast. I'm going to show you what I'm thinking, what my opinions about this are based on my analysis. I'm going to break into a few different charts, and I'm going to give you my ideas. I don't want to, again, spend too much time trying to tell you how to read these indicators, or of all the hundreds of thousands of indicators that are on TradingView. There's so many indicators you can use. You can just use price action too, market structure if you want to. You don't even have to use indicators, so we can just start there. Matter of fact. Alright, yeah, fine. I'm just gonna keep my indicators on like I intended to. Let's just go ahead and move through it. So whenever you're first looking through an asset, you want to identify your market structure, that's for sure. So just by plotting market structure, I can see here that price started a phenomenal uptrend. It's a really crazy uptrend, but Bitcoin has always pretty much been on an uptrend since the beginning of time. If you heard about Bitcoin somewhere back here and you didn't invest, you probably feel really bad about it. If I'm going to zoom out here and minimize this, and then we look forward a few years from now, you can see the time span is really not that far off. 2030. You can see what it looked like here and how it's going to look like over here. So I'm not really projecting too far into the future like that, but I do want you to take note of whenever we were at this point here, how minuscule price action seemed at that point. This probably seemed impossible. But then again, we look forward and these candlesticks rocket up, and now that looks very minuscule. And this probably seemed impossible at the time to spectators back here. But I can remember seeing that going up. So, but anyway, we look take simple note of weekly candlestick lows and highs so that we can see some pretty true swing lows and swing highs. You can open this up into the monthly, and if you look into the monthly, you'll see some different stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and start here on the weekly. So what we can note is that this is definitely a valid downtrend from the MACD, although price on the RSI is generally reaching oversold conditions. It's not exactly considered cheap yet. This would be considered expensive, and this is considered cheap, basically. So it's approaching a range of being cheap, is what, would be relative to think about. But it actually has not approached, like in this point right here is ideal buying time. But on the weekly, you can see that it never really gets that low. So here is a nice zone where one could say accumulation is strategic, or has shown in the past to be profitable accumulation zone, just based off RSI conditions. There's definitely other factors that go into that. But right now, Bitcoin is not trending over 50, so it's not it's not considered expensive right now. Far from expensive. Expensive would be somewhere like 66K. That's expensive. 50K might be considered expensive. We'll see what the market sentiment is like when we get there. But based off the ADX, which is another simple indicator showing trend momentum, you can see here there was a super strong move and super strong momentum increase, but here it started to die out. And then in the candlesticks it started to die out as well. So here there was never really a reclaim of, if I go back there, here there was never really a reclaim of the ADX. It's not really gained any strength since that major uprising that started to die out mid-March 2021. So now here we are a year later, almost mid-March 2022, and this is the market structure we're working with. So if we take note of this, we can see this was almost, there's definitely trends here. See where you can see downtrend. This is definitely a consolidation. Here would be downtrend, uptrend, downtrend, downtrend, uptrend, consolidation, uptrend, uptrend. This could actually even be considered a consolidation. This range right here where price failed to break above several times. So we're not going to nitpick about what's consolidating and what's downtrending, but we can see here that this is shocking uptrend, and here is a series of higher lows. So if I connected these low points here and they formed a downward slope, that would be considered a potential for a downtrend. Right here, if I'm drawing these, if I'm connecting these lows right here, or these highs, this shows a downtrend. So this downtrend is formed by a series of lower highs. As we can see here, there's lower highs being formed. And it's running into this series of higher lows. So again, just another characteristic of an uptrend here. Higher lows, higher low. So naturally, someone might try to long this, but what do you know, it breaks below. That's why you have a stop loss, which we'll talk about later. And if it continued to form above and create another higher high, that would be indicative of an uptrend continuation. But it fell below and created a lower high. So that is indicative of a downtrend continuation. But here we see that this downtrend is being broken above and quite possibly retested. So here's the retest outside of that, and it seems to have moved forward past that downtrend. Did not re-enter that downtrend channel. If we want to clone this here, we have some type. It's not exactly a perfect channel, but you can see elements of a downtrend, as we also have a series of lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. So we're now trying to keep this chart as simple as can be. We still have a lower high. So now this is the second lower high here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. This is the second lower high now. We still have to break out of this. We still have to break out of this here. This is definitely a higher high that was created from this. Just go ahead and leave it there. So we broke out of that. We got a retest above it. And we're testing above the support line. But that doesn't always mean that it's just a heyday for the moon. And this is where we're going to go now. So I have a few layers of support and resistance set up to introduce you the concept. And then I'm going to jump into some other charts. Where it's pretty layered out. So you can start to layer support and resistance pretty deeply based off different levels where they touch. I mean, here could be a resistance point, here could be a resistance point. You can indicate this as a zone. But just to show you real quickly what support resistance could look like, here we see resistance and then candlestick shot above. They've went through and then used it as resistance again. Price could not break above, price closed below. So it shot up, touched, resisted, came back, closed below. Pretty solid resistance point we're working with here. We have it systematically breaking down. So this was a support point that was used before it broke down. And then this is now being used as resistance, and it was used as a resistance here as well. So we can see that there is this systematic support and resistance layers and zones throughout each of this. So it can almost be like, I see traders with different zones on the maps, and this is one support zone. If that's broken, obviously it will trend out, but everything is layered into a zone. So I'll kind of break that down in a little bit, and I'll try to anyway. So just looking at the weekly, we can see that there's a bit of conflict. There's not a clear indication of uptrend or trend reversal like is here. This is very clear uptrend. Here we can see that this is downtrend. There's definitely a series of lower highs being formed, but it's conflicting with this higher low. Even here we start to see higher lows and then that break below. So it could just be another false move where we see the floor break and ultimately this is pierced. But the difference in these two areas is this one did have a similar trend line. If you can't see it with your eyes, I'll just go ahead and draw it for you. So this one had a similar trend line and a similar reaction. Price tried to check here and ultimately closed below. And there was that small resistance roll flip. Price shot down, rejected to the next layer. So things are layered out, and I'll show you a little bit more about zones here in a sec. Probably said that like 12 times. We got a lot of things to look over. But this is just very simply and basically how we start to break into zones. So now this was once used as support and could potentially be used as resistance in the future. So now let's just break into the daily time frame. I'm just going to try and expand this a bit to make sense of it. So we can see where we are now, and these are the same points that I had drawn on the weekly. You can see they're not perfect, but that's okay. I was using them just for example's sake. I definitely have a different chart to show you. So now we can see here, just by simply what we have lined out, I'm going to go ahead and clone this now because it makes more sense to show you how it looks now. So this is a range of downtrend. Sorry, adjusted that wrong. So here we have a range of downtrend. It's not a perfect channel. You can see when I cloned it, things didn't line up perfectly, but it's definitely a channel. Price is being rejected here continuously and respected here continuously. So this is a downtrend channel and allows great opportunities for trading. Here's another uptrend channel and it allows opportunities for trading. So right here, price has left this downtrend channel and now has ran into a previous ascending uptrend line. So if this just went out infinitely, I stop it at some point, but if it went out infinitely, you can expect some type of reaction from price there in the future, as it's been used 3 times, 4, now 5, almost 5. It's a different line. So here I'm just charting out possibilities of another uptrend forming. By this candle wicks touch, it dropped down that far. Buyer stepped in, showed support. There's more support from buyers here than there is from sellers, and it forms a higher low. So if this wick had came down here and came down further, then I would have had to draw this way, and it would not be a characteristic of an uptrend. That would be a characteristic of a downtrend. But, and this, just because we have this characteristic of an uptrend here does not mean that it's time to go Hail Mary into this position. But what it does mean is that we're seeing characteristics of, or traits that could paint the narrative of a trend reversal or an uptrend. So here prices are failing to make higher highs, which is important to take note of. That's why we have this short-term line here, which is also from a previous floor. So even on the daily, we can see these type of structures. So here, if you're trying to take a long position, if you're like, oh man, I'm brand new to Bitcoin, I don't know what I'm doing with Bitcoin, and I want to try and invest, but I just want to invest for the next 10 years, and I have some money and I need to know when to buy. All right, so you should just start practicing the DCA method, because there's no way you can time exactly by looking at the daily chart when's the best time to invest for 10 years. I'll tell you, really, it's just to hold. I don't think there's any strategy out there that has outperformed holding, at least on back testing. But from here till the end of time, you might get a different result, as Bitcoin's probably not going to increase at the same rate it has, although it will still continue to increase over time. But anyway, we can see here now, as we've very simply painted these downtrend lines, we have something to work with, and uptrend lines, area support and resistance. We have this range to work with. So we can expect that if price comes here, we can place safe bets on it shorting down with tight stop losses here on the flip side going up. Or if we want to try and long, then we're going to try and wait for price to either retouch here, or break outside of this. So if price retouches here, we can constitute a long entry because that's an area where price has shown support. If that gets broken and price enters here, we can feel a little bit better taking a long, as price has previously shown to touch there in the past. And if price gets up into this area, like right here, is the potential for upside and downside is fairly equal. So to yeet into a position right now isn't adequate based on basic technicals. So you'll want to wait until price approaches this, and then you can start to target here to here, or until price approaches this, and then you can start to target up. But that's a long time of doing nothing, DeadlyCrypto. We're not going to be trading until April 1st maybe. We're going to wait for that breakout. No, see, that's where we can get into even smaller time frames. So I have another map we're going to jump into, another chart, but I just want to show you briefly, looking into the 4-hour time frame, what that looks like now. So it's the same chart we were just looking at, and in the 4-hour time frame you can see how it looks when I'm zoomed out. And then when I zoom in, you can see there's certainly lots of potential for opportunities here. You can see the ranges that are painted, and you can even draw different support and resistance lines here. This could be one that you might want to take interest in and try to either place a stop loss beyond. And I'm not going to take this trade, I'm just going to show you real quick how I'm trying to illustrate the opportunities based on charting. Did not mean to grab that, sorry. So, just for example, if you wanted to take a long position, you can set your stop loss here, target up to this recent resistance. So here we have support right over here. So this was support, and you can even make this a zone if you wanted to. We'll go ahead and do that since I haven't shown you a zone yet. You can make this a zone. So that could be TP1. If price breaks over this downtrend line, then you can start chasing here, TP2. And if it breaks over that, then you have seen this downtrend line be used as support before, which is not perfect. I made that from the weekly. But you can start to potentially target this as TP3. So if price breaks over here, that's 1, 2, 3. And then if it's still going good, if Bitcoin's still swinging up, then you have 4, and then based off of other analysis, here could be 5, 6, whatever. You know, you're stacking up those profits if it goes according to plan. Now this isn't just because you set this up on your chart doesn't mean you're going to make money. Just because you set this up right here doesn't mean you're going to make money. This could go really bad. Price could swing down here and you can get stopped out. But then price could find support here or here and continue to go up through all your take profit targets that you may have missed. So even by using the same risk to reward ratio, dropping it down here, you might set yourself up for a better entry. If candlesticks come back down here, right, which is, you know, technically according to this valid downtrend, if price respects that, you could find a better entry somewhere around this point. And then, you know, it'd be harder to get stopped out, whereas if you enter right here and price goes this way, you get stopped out and that recovery happens. But like I said, if you drop down your entry, you have that same risk, but it's now in a different place. So it's a lot harder for price to reach that, although it is, you know, within the range of a swing low. Even better spot to place this with less risk attached would be here or here, since we have seen price travel these. I would say placing a long entry right there and then extending the stop loss beyond that. That's an extensive stop loss. Yeah, so I wouldn't extend that stop loss. I'd probably say to wait and try and find my entry here, and then if I see price missing that, if I see price come here and not come to my entry, then maybe I'll open a market position and try to play that recovery and bounce back up to here. But see, there's so many variables even in that 5-minute explanation as to what could happen and where you could even place this. Although it was the same risk to reward ratio, even where just a few different placement options could affect your trade. But not to get too far into that now. We have to actually look into the outlook for this. So now I'm just going to jump into, I think this chart was one that I wanted to show. So it had a few different price points. This one's definitely a lot more layered up. Excuse me, let me get some water while you watch this. Gnarly. Alright, so what we can see here is that price is definitely trapped and bounded by a few downtrend lines as well as uptrend lines. So there's some type of conflict here. It's not this obvious bounce touch scenario that we had like we were just observing. Price is getting conflicted into here. But as we just saw, there's definitely ranges and opportunities that allow us to trade within intradays. So you don't have to wait for, like we just had the weekly candlestick chart and observance. You don't have to wait for those weekly outbreaks to occur. Although they definitely provide more insight as to, or more confirmations as to where the market's headed. You can still try to gamble even in these opportunities here, even in the smaller time frames. So now if I take a look, I'm going to try and find, I think this is my other Bybit chart here. So this is a fairly clean chart where you can see that I have been trading around in. This was an uptrend that was broken, so now it's dotted. We saw here 2 price touch points. Fair reasoning would have allowed someone to place a long position right here with a stop loss right here. Maybe a target up into the middle of that zone. That would have been, it's a very excellent trade. You know, nothing wrong with that. If all you have was that information and you place that trade right there, solid. You guessed, you know, did what you could based off what was happening. You guessed on that outbreak, retouching right there, and then going long. But if it failed, you could have flipped your position and went short for some time. So after it failed here, you're like, okay, obviously you got stopped out and it's going down. Now you can enter your short. And this is just how you mind change perspective. I'm not saying this is what everyone's capable of doing, but now you can see, okay, well, playing the same range, this is how people, this is literally, there's hundreds of different traders and people get different ideas. This is a different idea that someone would have based on this observation. So they're like, okay, price has been on this super long downtrend and it probably could bounce up from here, but if it breaks below that support line or this support zone, as we see, maybe I could try to take that short. So the same trade where you got stopped out at, someone's taking an entry for a short. And as you can see, maybe they don't hit their intended target here. If it was exactly flipped as yours, they don't hit the intended target, but there was a larger area of profitability than there was in the position you took. And if you're still trying to chase this long here, so let me just move that away. So if you're trying to chase this long here, and you set up, this is your risk to reward ratio, and you try and set up your entry right here along this orange line, and you keep buying that support, so you got stopped out your long here, and then you got stopped out of this long too. While this guy that entered, you guys both entered at the same spot, he didn't get stopped out of his trade because it was a short. So the market analysis was the same. There was the same amount of information available to both people, except for one made profits and one didn't. So it really does come down to guessing. Promise you that. Promise it comes down to guessing at the very end of the day. But you have to understand, even with the same risk to reward ratio and the same TA available, what direction you're wanting to go, wanting to guess on, and why you want to guess on that direction. So now let's try and just look into a little bit smaller. I have some things set up here, I think, hopefully on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, so now that same market structure we were looking at, it's almost exactly, if you didn't know this was a 5-minute time frame, you would think we were looking at probably the same chart from earlier. But now this is the 5-minute time frame, and as we can see, it's got its own little ecosystem. It's alive. There are things going on here, and you can make tons and tons of plays within these movements. Even these small movements even on Bitcoin, something as stable as Bitcoin provides volatility, plenty of volatility to trade. And it's not often, but here we could just see simple things. I'll just show you, even in the last, what is today? So today's the 11th. So here's from midnight. So I was asleep at this point. Usually would wake up right here. So here, yeah, that's where my charting starts from. I don't have anything here because I was asleep. So we start playing on this downtrend now, and we're waiting for these to break out and and be respected below. So we can keep shorting these downtrends until we see these series of lower highs being formed. So they're very minuscule. Overall, there's definitely a lower low here, and we're going to wait for one of these to be broken above. So we can see our support and resistance again layered. This is just a really quick resistance line because price shot through there at that point, but here did not get above a few times. So we've seen boom, 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 3 times touch. So that's going to be a resistance play in the future. If you look right here, price briefly paused and then fell through. I think that might have to do with time, but there was definitely a stoppage in selling pressure right here. It was continued, but there was a reduction in selling price right here. So very well could be a resistance point in the short-term future. Again, because this is a 5-minute time frame. If you look back to the 4-hour time frame, these lines are, well, they're not minuscule, but in comparison to the larger picture, they don't have a lot of relationship. As we can see here, this actually was used a few times from weeks in the past. But it's not as strong as some other support line that we could see like back here, where this support zone was used several times for Bitcoin. That was major support back there. So this is not major support or major resistance, but these are the trading zones that we could see within our time frame. So within this active trend, we might say, okay, this is getting exhausted and price is going to shoot back down. So if it does, this is actually at a pretty decent point for us to make a decision. And now we have to decide if here we wanted to go long. Okay, is price going to continue up? And naturally, if you're charting along, you'll try to find a swing low or a previous support resistance flip. So here, there actually doesn't look like pretty, I mean, it's not super far, but even then, putting it below that swing low would come to that, and then you'd have to just keep extending it. So 2% is not a lot to cry about, but if you want to scalp, that's not going to cut it. We could definitely make that 1 to 2. Man, that's not 1 to 2. Okay, so I think a reasonable take profit target from here would be 1.36. So if I was to make this 1 to 1 at least, that's pretty bad. See, trying to place a market order right here, I feel like that stop loss could be very well hit. Price was just there a few minutes ago. 3 o'clock. Yeah, price was just there like a few hours ago. Price could shoot up, and the market price could very well. You could miss out if you don't jump in here. If price shoots up based off this outbreak, but that's a huge stop loss for this trade. You could reduce this maybe something like 0.5 to 0.3% and see where it fits. So if you wanted to go long here, that looks reasonable. I'm going to try and set up a short before it moons. I'm not trying to say take either one of these positions, but let's just see how we could set them up both. This is how you would decide. So we have the same amount of information available on both sides. And then basically we just kind of want to project how long we'll stay in this trade. So obviously this is the 15-minute time frame, and let me get into the 5-minute time frame. See what that looks like. Now we can start to use other things like the EMAs. So let me just turn these on real quick. Again, I'm not really going to tell you what these mean too much. Actually, I'm not going to tell you what they mean. Yeah, too much. That's I have plenty of videos talking about TA. But here we could see, just based on now adding the EMAs to our chart, we could see that price has flipped. We have the 250 cross, so that could be potential of resistance. All this could be rejection. All this could be rejection here. And downside, there is a lot of, there's actually not that much wiggle room since we have the EMAs getting tied up here. So if this gets rejected, there's probably going to be a support touch here. And if price breaks below that support, then we're going to get stopped out, because price is going to come in this direction and probably continue back this way. So that's a reasonable stop loss based on what the EMAs are telling me. The 9's right here. If support's found, it's going to break up. And 26 is right here, so we just had that cross on the short term. If that is respected, could continue up. In which case, if I had a short active right here, so now I'll place my short right at the same point. So here's the entry. Short entry is right here. So now we can see the short stop loss is right here. If price comes up, the short's pretty reasonable to bet on right here, simply because it's logical. There's rejection along the 200 EMA on the 5-minute time frame, and if price candlestick action spills below here, there's going to be a snapback. So here the stop loss, it would have to be a really hard trend continuation here to get stopped out. But playing the short based off here, if you get this rejection here, could turn into a profitable scenario very quickly. And even if you don't get even in either scenario, if you don't get your take profit achieved, you can choose to bail out with what profits you had. That one's a little bit larger. You could choose, as soon as you enter to a profitable position, you're going to want to try and move your stop loss to where it's profitable. So if you're trading a lot, then you know that really, moon time. So if you're trading a lot, then you know really that placing a stop loss is important, and once you get into a profitable position, it needs to go right above entry so that if price returns, like in a pump candle like this, you can get stopped out for just above entry, so that way you don't lose any money. Because sometimes you'll jump into that and then right into your stop loss and be like, oh, it's coming back, it's coming back. It probably won't come back. If it falls back to your entry price, you need to close it by your adjusted stop loss and then retarget your entry. So if price does come up here, maybe I could get a better entry later based off the new information that's provided to me. I don't just have to, yeet into something like that. But now the information in front of us has changed, so these entries have to be readjusted. But that's just kind of how you can set up for it. And let me see how much time we're in now. So I'm going to try and spend a little bit of time on the smaller time frame and see what kind of trade I can set up. Let me close these out now. Okay. So I need to get some kind of cool, like royalty-free music or something like that on standby. So it looks like, price flipped over here. It might be some support. If I can set up a long here, that'd be pretty slick. Price is about to enter an area of, it's considered expensive right now. Let's see where I can fit a long. Okay, so I'm going to wait to see if I can find some divergence here. don't have either one of these live. If I go live, if I take a live trade, I'll let you know. If this shoots up and makes some kind of like divergence here, then I'll want to take a short on that. The account so generously donated to me for the purpose of research and for testing strategies by Crypto University. Shout out Crypto University. I'm going to be using Where's 38828? Solid stop loss. I have a couple different monitors here, guys. I'm just using multiple time frame analysis. No divergence, but this short looks promising. And that range is pretty far. We do have the bullish cross here, so it might make more sense to buy a retest. Although the retest could put that short. Long way down. Alright, yeah. Let's see. Oof, it's really likely to get a stop loss hit there. Get some more eyes on the prize. Click aggressively. I know, guys, I know I need to get some cool music, right? Any munitions? Any musicians out there watching? Any musicians in the house? Alright, so rejection leading back down. Damn, that would have been a dynamite entry. Should I FOMO? Should I FOMO? Should I FOMO in? Should I FOMO on the short? Solid short, huh? Nah. What if it only goes back to the retest? I'll wait and buy the retest like a sensible man. No FOMO. No FOMO. Okay. So now, no FOMO. Yeah. Alright. Do I want to play this short? Let's see here. We got a little flaggy flag. Got a little uptrendy trend. I'll play this short. Okay, we're playing. So in theory, if it breaks up, hits this stop loss or hits this point, maybe it continues up and keeps rallying upwards and we get stopped out. If it comes right here, we can adjust stop loss to profitable position, and then ultimately if it comes down here but doesn't hit that, we can still get out for a better profit. But that's just based off the sentiment here. I think we can break down a little bit. Yeah, maybe come back here for a touch. If this doesn't hold, then we can have a better entry for this. So if this doesn't hold, if that holds up, we can try and take that entry for the long. If it doesn't hold up, we can try and ride the short down here and maybe take this entry on this long. Do I have some royalty-free music? I should have had this on standby. I'm really sorry, guys. It's quiet today. I could put some music on my phone, but I'm pretty sure we'll get in trouble for that. I'm pretty sure we'll get in trouble for that. I think at least. Okay, so 388997. My actual entry. I'm trying to set this up. My entry on my exchange is 388997. Damn, I bought way more than that. Oh, 38997. I was like, my exchange gypped the shit out of me. Alright, there we go. That's where I bought. It looked a lot better whenever I zoomed in. I'm just going to stay zoomed in. No, I'll zoom back up. Alright, so waiting. Get this off my screen. Just for a sec there. I might need it in a little bit. Oh, that's way too many downtrend candles on the 1 minute time frame in a row. She's going to bounce back up. Okay, maybe not. The emotions of trading. No, yes, it is going to bounce back up. Okay, so at this point, we could at least put our stop loss here for a profitable position, but I haven't made anything. I'm only up $4.33 on that. So I can watch it here now, but I'm going to have a fucking panic attack. So let's just keep watching the restore board ratio. Okay. So far, it's dumping, which is good. Dump BTC, dump it, boys, dump it, dump. Where's the dump button? Oh, I should get a soundboard, right? Dump with that little horn. It's like alright. So Yeah, I can just talk about this position real quick too. So you can see here, it's only taken with $231. This account that was been sponsored by CU, they've given it to me for the 1000X challenge. So I didn't have the opportunity to do live streams whenever I started that challenge, but now that I do, we're going to be taking a look at trading on the account, managing trades on the account. Now, I don't want to spend too much time here without looking at the chart. Okay. But you can see here, $231 really, isn't a lot of money, but you can still make, if this is all you have, you can still make reasonable returns based upon scalp strategies. If you just stack these up, day in and day in and day in, this is only 0.25% movement. So if that doubles up, you're looking at $6 to $7. So really, with $231, you can be making profitable moves, and you can be building your account. You just have to be careful in how you leverage yourself, because if you overextend your entire account, you don't know what you're doing, it can end up very bad very quickly. So the goal here is not to, if you don't know what the 1000X challenge is, you can go check out that video. We're going to be doing more, so the live streams are going to lead into that now, and we're going to be working to develop that. But basically just going to try and show how to take an account from $1,000 all the way to $100,000. And I don't mean to say that every trade is going to go according to plan, but sometimes we just, sometimes they're going to go right, sometimes they're going to go wrong. Dump straight to take profit. So now we can either look. So you have the option now to hit your take profit goal. You have the option now to set your stop loss, which you can set at. Let's move over here. No, please maximize this now. Sorry, technical difficulties. So now you can set a stop loss, almost hit the profit. Now I would say a reasonable stop loss is like 38925. That might be hit, but that's going to allow you to get some profits out of this. So not everything has to be a super huge win. 389, what did I say? 38955. We'll try that. Not everything has to be a super huge win. Really, you just, oh, that's way too close. So we'll try here. Still way too close. Alright. You don't want everything doesn't have to be a freaking home run. You just have to get to base, you know what I'm saying? You gotta get to first base at least, and then from there you can judge how the run's gonna go. But you gotta at least get to first base. So once you get into profits, that's the hardest part. Sometimes you're just gonna hit straight in stop loss. If that broke out, hit my stop loss, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. It would have been a lost trade. We would have lost some money, but we just look for the next one and maybe wait. We might be able to jump into a position right away. We might just have to wait and try to find a better opportunity. But once you get into a profitable position, then you're just gonna want to adjust your stop loss and try to maintain that. So now if price goes back towards entry, price comes back up into this direction. I have that adjusted stop loss at 38920. That's fine. 38920.5. So if price comes back to this point, I could put a stop loss timeout on that, which means if price came back here for X amount of time, then I would only get stopped out. Like if it was here for 60 seconds or 120 seconds, 2 minutes, price did a couple candlesticks here, but then poked back down, wouldn't actually get stopped out, and that's been helpful sometimes. But in those 2 minutes, if we see that super huge, if we see a huge pump candle, could pump me way back past my entry. So there's no reason to risk out profits just yet. We can adjust, we can do a stop loss timeout later, but see here, that would be a good bounce for a long entry. So now, oh wait, I have that tool right here. Yeah, now, see, that was a clean touch. Should have actually entered a long right there. Yeah, so if price, this is a technical uptrend here, and this is technically a retrace. So we shorted that retrace, counter trend traded, but we were gambling on that trend reversal and the breakout of that little formation. So now, Trying to see where price would have some horizontal support resistance. It looks like here's resistance, which might turn support. Resistance. So this resistance might turn support. Something that could have been overlooked, but on the 1 minute, I mean, hell, there's so much on the 1 minute time frame. Okay, so we'll see how price reacts here. If price can get through into this region and go beyond my TP, then I can keep monitoring it, extend my SL for my active trade to go higher. And then if I can feel like there's going to be a bounce or something to the upside, there could be a support check maybe right here. That would have been, yeah, that could have been a good buy. Yeah, that would have been a good buy. So now in moments like this, you have to decide if you want to take your profits on your short, whether you have, $100,000 in the position, whether you have $1 million in the position, whether you have $10 in the position. It's no different. Concepts are all the same. You're going to want to learn to trade. You're going to have to actually put some money in there to struggle with emotions. Just from doing any technical practices or exercises, you can get the technical analysis down. But it all comes ultimately to, like I said, it's guesswork. Because right here we had the same market structure. Someone could have guessed long on this and someone could have guessed short. The same long here would have been invalidated. And, you could be pissed. You could be beating yourself up. You could be like, man, I'm such a bad trader. This and that. But you're not a bad trader, man. It's just all guesswork. Everything happens differently. And this same scenario in the future could prove bullish instead of bearish, but I proved bearish this time, and it looks like I'm probably going to get stopped out by my adjusted SL. This could be the pullback of this, so if this continues now, so if this continues now, and could get stopped out right there, but that would suck if that was the retrace pullback and then price continues to shoot down. Like if price does something like this, where's the path? Price does something like this, and then I get stopped out right there. There's my stop loss, and then price comes back down. That would suck, but sometimes it happens. Hopefully the retest pokes below that. That's gonna be like solid right there on the 50. You know what I mean? So hopefully this retrace just shoots back down, and more people start dumping BTC. Dump BTC. Someone needs to dump BTC. Oh, wow, I got comments? Guys, I didn't even see these comments. I'm barely seeing these comments. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to not respond to you. Joke, executive order, big facts. What's up, guys? Privacy compromise, CBDC. Yes, sir. Blockchain being used in India to verify education. Oh, no, my stop loss. Okay. Bouncing down. Blockchain are being used in India to verify educational certificates and documents. At least something is going good. Will you do future trading one day? I'm doing future trading today. Ben Calm. We're going to try and do a little bit of future trading. More episodes. Sorry, I'm looking at my trades. Close to this is a stop loss. It's a profitable stop loss, but still. Yeah, we're gonna be trying to do more trades more often. So we're gonna bring news, and then we're gonna bring trades. We're gonna bring some TA and some trades. Hey Deadly, see you. Wagme, what's up? Mubarak, Fitness and Health, hello. Wow, huge weekly divergence playing out. Yeah, it's been played out, brother. If you would have seen that a little bit sooner, smash the like button, y'all. That's my boy Mubarak. If only we had some sirens in here. Go. You know how that siren goes. No! Okay, so my stop loss got hit. Let me just make sure that closed. See, so even reading comments I can see. Alright, well, stop loss got finished. So it wasn't a loss. Price didn't go. I could have ultimately closed out for a greater profit if I would have just decided how close it actually came, because it did come close. But it wasn't a loss. We got stopped out for a small profit, which profit is good. Didn't entirely waste our time, but it went against our idea. So that just means that with our adjusted stop loss, we don't have to eat that big that big loss at the end. So really, it's just a conservation. And when you're trading, you really have a compilation of small losses, small wins, or then you have those super big winners. So like for example, obviously we just saw a small win. A small loss means your stop loss gets hit, and a big winner means that price comes down and it actually continues in the direction that you guessed the entire time. So big winner means your stop loss wasn't hugged too tight like mine, or in another scenario it just continues to go all the way down, or if you long it goes all the way up. And big winners come here where you hit your initial take profit and then you adjust your stop loss here. Price keeps going down, and then you just keep adjusting your stop loss. Then you get here, so you adjust there, and now you've turned that small projected trade here from what could have been 0.5%. Now you turned it into 0.75%, maybe 1%. And in those events where you have those huge sell-offs like this, if you get lucky to time it right off support or resistance, then you play into a huge a big winning trade. Here I tried to place some support and resistance rejection. I'm like, okay, first poke out got rejected. That could have been even a good entry if I was paying more attention. But I'm kind of, I'm into the live stream too, so I didn't want to try and be playing two active trades at once. But this long could be in profitable position now that my short got closed out for a stop loss, and I could try to do the same thing. I could put the exact same stop loss now. This is profitable. I could put it right here, and I could try to squeeze this market until I find the winner. And then once I find the winner, let it ride. All that good stuff. But whatever, we'll try and get into that. I did plan just a few fit perfectly into schedule. So this was a 15-minute trade. If I didn't hit my stop loss there, I could still close out, and which is what I would do now. I just go ahead and close out for profits. If I wasn't live streaming to you guys, if I was just like at home trading and I didn't hit my stop loss right here, I would already be concerned that this was projected for 15 minutes. So like normally whenever I'm trading, I have this sand timer here, so I just flipped it. It's 15 minutes. So whenever I'm looking for a day trade, I'll try to stay within 15 minutes because whenever I'm planning on the 1 minute time frame, things are happening so fast, and you're not looking forward that much ahead. You have such a narrow sight. So like you can't really just make decisions based off of this. You can't make valuable decisions based off of this 1 hour and 14 minutes worth of data. You definitely have to know what's going on in the larger time frames, and that's why it's important. A lot of people ask me whenever it comes to scalping, whenever it comes to day trading, futures trading, what time frames are important to observe. Really, you have to start from top-down approach, and I would say at least start with the daily. You don't have to start like the weekly like we did today, but you can even see how we fit that into a reasonable time frame. And now that we have a simple understanding of what's going on in the weekly, all the way into the daily, and we've executed one trade, we have a better understanding, and now we can jump back out, keep analyzing the market, and keep trying to project, different ranges that are available to us. Use different strategies, of course. I don't really think I used any strategy here today. I just used an outbreak and tried to make something happen for the live stream, which is really poor to say. If I were taking notes on this, so I have this log here, so I'm just going to go ahead and log this, make sure Papa Gray knows what's going on with this money. So I'm going to say took live scalp for tutorial. There was no strategy. If I took a strategy, I would say 50, 200 EMA crossover attempt or something like that. But there was no strategy here. I guess that's the best my brain can spit up for right now. So then I would enter down. That was the beginning, and then afterwards moved SL to above entry to retain profits. Stopped out for profits. So those are just some quick notes about the trade, and now I can use that for my trading log, and I can look back, reflect, and learn what happened. If it was a loss, I could see why I lost on that trade. I could see what happened, and obviously, there wasn't much insight on that trade, so I could see that one was a big dummy trade. Or if I had used any different strategy or whatever, I can start to analyze my losses that way. and start to reflect on myself as a trader and start to delete losses, minimize wins. Looks like we're dumping. I told you that was going to happen. I told you price is going to do some kind of rejection right here and dump off. But oh well, hopefully it finds support and I don't feel like a total jackwagon later. But anyway, yeah, let me see I'm going to go back to these comments now. So we got, where did I leave off at? Yeah. Smash the like button for sure. That's a good one. I remember that one. I'm running DCA bot BTC USDT at the moment, Satronaut, and it's just ticking away nicely with these small fluctuations. Hell yeah, that's what's up, brother. And DCA bots are, and then the truth. That's what I'm talking about. DCA bots are awesome. Patrick Wasible, see you team. Where are you? See you team down here, bro. This is DeadlyCrypto channel. This is my channel. See you has their own channel. I'll be there sometimes, but this is my channel. Hi, Mom. Patrick says, hi, Mom. Hi, Patrick's mom, if you're watching this. Hi, Patrick, Mom. Hi, my mom, if you're watching this. Should probably get my mom in on this. She's not really too up to date with the internet. So, hi, Patrick's mom for now. And maybe my mom will watch this recording. I'll send her the link. She knows how to open links, so I can send her the recording. But a live stream would probably be too much. Especially, I don't even know how to use the live stream right now yet. So, once I can figure it out, then I can schedule it, and then I can be like, hey, Mom, look, I'm going live at this time. Pretty sure she'd love to watch that and be like, Mom, look, I'm on TV. I can just tell her it's the TV. She won't know the difference. All right, fellas. Well, cool. So you saw some charting. You saw what a live trade was like. You saw emotionally. I don't know if you put money on that with me. I would try to tell you not to. Nothing I ever do on this channel is going to be financial advice. But, if you did, you can see what the emotional experience was like. If you took a mock trade, maybe you got to sympathize with the emotions. But really, I suggest, even if it's a small amount of money, you can see this position was only $231. Definitely don't want to liquidate this account. This account has like $2,700 on it, I think, right now. So we're just taking calculated position sizes with leverage. That was actually $3,400 in the position. So there's more that was in there, and it was 15x. It was definitely possible to liquidate that trade. But we have tight stop losses. We want to try and use leverage to our advantage while making use of a little bit of funds, trying to manage it, and most importantly, emotions. So again, even if you have a little bit of money, you can make use of it. And you should start with a little bit of money. So paper trading accounts, cool. Practice accounts, demo accounts, awesome. Try with a little bit of money after you get comfortable with your practice accounts and your demo accounts. I'm not saying skip it. If you want to do a demo account, go ahead, go for it. After you get more comfortable there, load up some real dineros, some pesos, some yens, some whatever. Convert them bad boys to satoshis, some USDT. $50, $20. $20. If it's $20 is all you got, you definitely don't want to lose it. So put it on the exchange and try to trade with it, because you're really going to be emotionally involved. If you think it's just $20, you're not going to get the emotions attached to it. Maybe put on $100 and try to get that emotional experience. So yeah, I hope you learned something here. Even see dang flabbit. If you just jumped into this, I said that was probably going to happen, and it kind of happened. Let me see if I can backspace far enough. Please. Yeah, look at that. Should have stayed in right there. But whatever. Like I said, as a trader, you only end up with small profits, small losses, or then you get those trades that break out. Here, what I could say in my notes actually was, now, stopped out for profits. So yeah, so that's the conclusion. Now I'm reflecting on this. I'm going to say, move SL too close to price action. I could have moved that a little bit further away. So I put it right there, and that was natural to expect a retest right there along that point, and even along that trend line. I should have moved my adjusted stop loss to be like somewhere out here, where that would still put me at a small loss, and I wouldn't have got the profits I did, but this trade would have remained alive. Or even the timeout, stop loss timeout I told you about. I could have put 60-second timeout on there, so if I had this here, it's the 1 minute time frame. If I would have put 120-second timeout, price could have shot this way. I could have got stopped out for, even closer to my entry or potentially a loss. But in this scenario, the stop loss timeout would have saved me. and price wouldn't have stayed down in that range for more than 120 seconds, so I would still be in a profitable position and still be winning. But now I'm not going to try and FOMO into another trade or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this broadcast, so let me try and transition to the middle again. Perfect. All right, guys, so good afternoon from USA. That's where I am. Sorry, having a little bit of brain fart. Good afternoon from Texas, USA. This has been Cryptocurrency, and who am I again? I'm Edward, Daily Crypto. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see y'all at the next one. Toodaloo. I don't know when the stream's going to end, so I'll just try to sit here and do something.